Have you been on the speed lane, traveling so fast that you are now tired and want to just stop and rest? Do you perchance want to completely drop out of the race because you cannot see the finish line? In my last video, which was the fourth part of the series, the ABCs of personal development, we talked about how to accelerate your personal development journey. In this video, I'll be sharing the next set of building blocks in personal development that can give you a boost of energy to stay and persevere in the process. Stay with us.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, my name is Ruth and this is my channel where sugar meets spice. Here we share tips and stories to help you discover your sweetness and uncover your greatness. If you have watched my videos before, welcome back and thank you for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for subscribing. Now, let's get into how to persevere in your personal development journey. The 16th building block of personal development is practice. Anything that you are not willing to practice, you will not be able to do. We learn by practice, we grow by practice, and we give value by practice. Without practicing the knowledge that we've gained, we cannot really validate that knowledge that we've gained. So what is practice? Practice is the constant, continuous application of knowledge that you have received, an idea you have gained, or a belief system you have adopted. Practice is application of knowledge over and over again. If you are not able to successfully apply and practice the ideas, the beliefs, the thoughts, the information that you have received in your personal development journey, you'll not be able to prove that you actually know what you have learned. So there's no use for knowledge if you cannot apply it or put it to work. Some would say practice makes perfect, while some others say no one can be perfect. But permit me to say, if no one can be perfect, at least reduce your imperfections with practice. Don't just learn for learning's sake. Endeavor to put your learnings to use. Gaining knowledge that you are unable to apply can become a problem to you. Too much knowledge without practice is like eating too much food without exercising or without using that energy. Practice gives you the avenue to put to use what you have gained, and as you put them into use, you are increasing your value as you add value to others. Practice is the hardest part of learning. That is why a lot of people don't practice, and that is why those few who do stand out. If you want to improve your skills, if you want to be productive, you have to be ready to invest time in practice. If you have learned how to sew, practice sewing. If you have learned how to code, program, market, all that, put to practice what you've learned. The more you practice it, the better you become at it. Learning is easier than practice. It's easy to sit down in a class or a webinar, listen to a teaching, take notes. But when it comes down to practicing what you have learned, it's very hard. You have to wake up, you have to make a decision, you have to move away from your comfort zone for you to be able to start to put to work all that you have learned. So don't stop practicing, because it is what you practice in private that you'll be rewarded for in public. The 17th building block of personal development is questions. I have a picture frame in my room that says, "Blessed are the curious, for they shall have adventures." Indeed, life is an adventure of discovery to those who are curious, and those who are curious always have and ask questions. In your personal development journey, you should always have questions, and you should always question the status quo. So once someone asks a question, they open the door to the possibility of an alternative to what that person is questioning. So you cannot have change, you cannot have development or progress without asking questions. When you question the status quo, you are courageously trying to break out of the norm, to explore possibilities of new and better things. If you're unwilling to ask questions in your ignorance, then you need to check if it's a function of pride or fear. Fear can prevent you from asking questions. And the other thing that can prevent you from asking questions is pride. When you feel you are enough, when you feel you have all the knowledge, you will never ask questions. And if you never ask questions, you will remain ignorant. Yeah, pridefully ignorant though, but you will remain ignorant. So ask questions today. Push against the status quo in your life. Push against the norms. Push against the things that are familiar to you and break out. It's not a sin or an error not to know. And like the good book says, the meek shall inherit the earth. So in other words, it is those who are meek enough to ask questions that will get answers. And not only will they get answers, they will also achieve greatness and reach their heights, the heights that those who are too fearful or too prideful to ask may never ever reach. So ask your questions today so that you can get your answers always. The 18th building block of personal development is resilience. One of the biggest misconceptions in personal development is the assumption that success comes cheap and development can be achieved without a costly process. Rough patches are inevitable in every journey, but through resilience, we can prepare ourselves for them and recover quickly from every setback to continue the journey. So resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or from hard and tough situations. Resilience is being tough because tough times never last, but tough people do. And that is because they are resilient enough to wear off those tough times. Tough people are resilient because they can stay on the journey through the rough patches and spring back after they are knocked down. Resilience is knowing that the journey of life has its ups and downs. To be resilient is to be able to prepare for both the ups and the downs. I call it expecting the best, but bracing up for the worst. Resilience is about preempting difficulties and preparing to overcome them. So if you don't preempt difficulties in your personal development journey, it'll be difficult for you to handle them when you get to those points, and it can create roadblocks in the process. So how do we develop resilience? What are some of the skills attached to resilience? First of all, you have to believe in your God-given ability to overcome hardship. Your ability to stay connected to the source of your strength, to keep renewing that strength, helps you recover quickly when you have a setback. 2, you must have a support system that you have built around your life to help you recover. It's a good way to develop resilience when you have people to encourage you. Number 3, learn to communicate your thoughts and feelings so you can process them quicker and get back on track faster. 4, reach out to others and help them in their time of difficulty. It's a skill that helps you bounce out with resilience. 5, stay positive in your thoughts and in your feelings, and then the ability to cultivate the attitude of a survivor. Have it in mind that I have the capacity to survive. Then finally, 6, seek meaning and purpose in the process. When you know there's a purpose in pain, there's a purpose in adversity, you're able to wade through the adversity and you're able to come out of that storm after that storm is over. The 19th building block of personal development is sacrifice. One half of knowing what you want is knowing what you must give up to get it. Sacrifice is the act of giving up something of value for some other considerations or to gain some other value in life. To move ahead in personal development, some things must be left behind. Growth comes at a cost, and progress has a price. The cost is sacrifice. The price is sacrifice. Growth requires expanding your capacity to do more, and usually in the process of building capacity, a lot of sacrifices are made. For instance, in every living creature, cells must divide for the body to grow. That division that occurs for the two new cells to grow is sacrifice. So before they begin to grow, they must divide, and that division leads to growth. A seed cannot germinate until that seed dies. When a seed is planted in the ground, it dies before it begins to grow into a new plant that has potential to become many, many more seeds. So growth and multiplication requires a lot of sacrifice. And in our journey of personal development, we must be sure what sacrifices we need to make, what we need to give up on to attain those other values that we aspire for. My favorite book says, any man who wants to build a house or someone who wants to fight a war must first sit down and determine or plan what is going to cost them before they set out to build that house or to fight that war. Progress comes with a price. The willingness to pay the price or the willingness to bear the cost of growth. That's usually the first step in experiencing that growth or experiencing the personal development you are aspiring for. We hear people say, no pain, no gain. Indeed, no pain of sacrifice, no gain. But there's something called growth pain. As you expand through growth, that stretch will introduce pressure, and with pressure comes in some pain. Sacrifice in personal development is key, and before you embark on the journey, you must be willing to sacrifice your time, your financial resources, your pleasure, so that you can attain that level of growth that you're aspiring for. Always be prepared to pay the price, and the sky will be your limit, or even your starting point. This is all we can take for this installment of the ABCs of personal development. I hope you learned something. Keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing, and most of all, keep subscribing. All the best in your personal development journey. Lots of love with sugar and spice and all things nice. Mwah.